Whoever's on here now, we will be rocking and rolling in a few minutes. Any chance you could do like a countdown timer on this thing?
I can, not right now though. I mean, I could do 30 seconds.
No, not now. Like
yeah, I can do a countdown timer. I can do.
You can do it all.
The video is live now. Oh, good.
Why did something go wrong?
Hey, everyone out there.
Becca's on. Hey, Becca.
Welcome to the show. We're doing a little bit different. Today we're going to actually start in a little bit, give some people some chances to go up. Grab your drink. Grab your drink. Yo, 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 Nick. Yo.
Michael.
Corey. Appreciate you.
Taking a little break from making some homemade vino.
Ooh.
Michael.
Mike. Fellas, what is up with this side of my head?
What do you mean?
This side of the hair just like...
Yeah.
You need a haircut, dude.
Jack.
Not this side, though.
Yeah, that side's getting... You're like Krusty the Clown on that side.
No, not this side. This side?
The other side.
Oh, this side I'm like, oh, yeah, I got the nice little... And then like...
Yeah, and it's like...
It's like pissed. This is like the ugly stepchild. No offense out there, stepchildren.
None taken.
Yeah, way to go.
Oh, Nickel West.
Ooh, what was that?
Y'all's got gas tonight.
Rubbing their microphone?
I don't know what happened.
Rock and roll. All right, shall we start?
Yeah. Oh, good. My mom's on. She figured out how to get on.
Oh,
Hey,
boy.
Ma.
Don't say anything.
Hey, Ma.
Okay.
You can start whenever you want.
Okay. You fellas ready?
Do it.
Are you ready?
Let's go.
Hi, I'm John Timmerman, and I'm not wearing any pants.
Hi, I'm Rob Schauger, and my first experience with culture shock was when I peed on the electric fence.
And I'm Al Kutri, and I'm obsessed with marshmallows.
Ooh. Toasted?
Marshmallows.
Not toasted.
Any kind, however you want to make them.
Campfire, s'mores,
Melt it, toast
ice cream.
it, stick it. In
And we are the co-founders of the No Bull Company. What's up, Buzz Nation? Welcome to I'm a Little Buzz. Coming to you live from inside our homes because COVID. Today's show is about how to stop caring about what others think. But first, before we get into this conversation we all love to have, now is the time when we cheers to life, love, lots of laughter, and dropping something on the ground, picking it up immediately, dropping it again, then losing your fucking mind. Cheers.
Ask my mom about that. I go crazy.
No way. Don't do that.
I'll go nuts. If I drop something like twice in a row, the third time is like I'll burn my own house down.
You're just kicking it down the street.
Everybody watching right now, comment your absolute bonkers pet peeve that just makes you go insane. Comment below. We would love to hear them. But before we get into the show, remember everyone, this is the live show, Tuesday live show. We're doing some crazy cool stuff on this show, and one of them is giveaways. We announced last week we were going to start doing giveaways on the live show, Tuesday shows, but only to our YouTube subscribers.
I just commented it in the comments. I put the link.
Boom. That's
There it
the
is.
link. That's where you subscribe. Click that. Subscribe. If you're watching on Facebook, you need to be a YouTube subscriber. Every week we will pick one of our lovely YouTube subscribers and give them something for free. It could be anything. We will announce it ahead of time. And if you watched us, our Instagram Reels today, I highly suggest you do because it was hilarious. And it showed you what you can win today, which is a pair of Jackson Joby jeans.
Oh, try it again, John. Keep it going. Oh, there it is. You're almost there. Yeah, there you have it.
That's out of my face.
Yeah.
Free pair of Jackson Joby jeans, running about $100+. American made. They stretch. They feel great on your tushy, right, Rob?
Sure do.
All right. So subscribe to YouTube if you are not yet.
And if you're looking, if this is where you need to land, you click the link, look for this picture. No Bull Company. You'll see all of us, the purple, the pink, our handsome faces. Then you're in the right spot.
Subscribe. Pow. All right. So that's something fun. Another fun thing that we are doing is a new segment that we like to call Ask Raj. Ask Raj is a segment where you can submit your video questions, have to be recorded on video, however you record your video. Email them to buzzed@nobullcompany.com. Sorry, buzzed@nobullcompany.com. And a resident know-it-all genie who answers your audience questions will answer them about business and life. Right on.
Right on.
Here we go. Ask Raj. Hey.
All right.
Here's Raj.
Here's the Raj. Hope everyone knows what that stands for.
If you don't, then I don't know. I didn't think people would get it. Shockingly, I was in the room.
Get it either, but
yeah.
Okay.
So, anyways, shall we play?
Raj.
Yeah. Who's asking Raj what questions? Al.
Miss Colleen Fermansky from Nooks and Crannies. You can find her website at, I believe it's Nooks and Crannies. Nooks and Crannies HC, probably for house cleaning. But Nooks and Crannies HC.com. Go to that. So she asked the first question, and I will play that right now.
Hi guys, I was wondering if you could share some tips on effective networking. Also, can you touch on why creating a brand is so important and how to effectively do it?
Okay, there you have it. So she wants to know about effective networking, which we've talked about this in podcasts, and then creating brand and all that good stuff. So Johnny boy, or Raj, sorry.
John.
I'll take the networking. John, you take the brand.
Fire away.
So, Colleen, on the networking, a few tips, and we've talked about this on the show before. So, number one, if you're something that makes you feel like super uncomfortable and nervous and like, I don't even want to go to this thing, I'd rather stay home and throw up, take a buddy and go with you. So, wingman, wingwoman, whatever you want to call it, but go together. But once you get there and you get comfortable, circle the room and gather names, cards, whatever. Tip number two, the follow-up. Make sure that whoever you spoke to, you met that night, that within 24 hours you follow up with that person and set a time to either get together or in today's case, and then keep that list and then follow up with that person again and you decide that the time frame. So maybe it's 3 weeks, a month, put it in your calendar with their contact information. And even if it's a quick text or an email, hey, just want to touch base, see how you're doing, start to build the relationship and the rapport.
And I'm going to add to that just a little tidbit. On your first networking event, your only goal is what you're going to do for them. Forget about what you need. The first networking event, it's all about what you're going to give to somebody else and help somebody else. Your needs will come at the second networking event.
Good stuff.
These two are the networking pros.
Brand.
See, I don't even have to pick which side is which this time. I'll just go both sides.
You can't do that as John. You can only do that as Raj.
And why is Siri talking to me right now?
I don't know. Get rid of her.
Shut up, Siri.
So brand. So I have a really blunt answer for how to effectively grow your brand, and that is to be your undoubtedly true self, and go as far as you're comfortable going is to putting that out there. Meaning, like, okay, we're in COVID world, which means a lot of this stuff is virtual. You're doing videos on LinkedIn, whatever it might be, and putting yourself out there, your personality, your hobbies, your brand is the most effective way to go. Because here's what will happen. I know this from experience. I know this from professional experience and consulting and all of that world in marketing. When you're first starting out, the tendency for a lot of people, business owners, and especially people that are type A, is to go balls to the wall, is to how do I make this as high production as possible? How do I make this perfect? How do I script this? How do I get out there? Rob, you and I were talking about this several months ago, when we started this whole No Bull thing, putting yourself out there, putting content out there. You could spend so many hours trying to perfect it. Click post, 2 people see it.
Yep.
10 total views over the course of a month. Like, you put all this effort into trying to make it perfect based on what you see out there, what you think you need to put out there, and then it falls flat. That's going to be much more defeating than just Colleen saying, I like dogs and I like to teach people how to organize their office or their house, or whatever, whatever it is, the thing you want to. And so you start a show called Dogs and Cleaning, and you just start talking about it. You do it on Facebook, you do it on LinkedIn, you do it on Instagram, you do it on wherever you're comfortable. That's your brand. That's your personal brand that bleeds into your professional brand. Because one piece of advice or one thing that's so true today is that your professional brand is your personal brand. There's no more B2B. It's P2P. It's people to people, right? Like
P.
P2P.
P2P.
P2P. P2P.
H to H. Humans to humans.
That's my advice for branding for a one-person company. That's honestly my advice for branding for a 500-person company, is to create a bunch of little personal brands of those 500 people. That's going to be the best possible brand for that company you could have.
Right. Good stuff.
And speaking of brand, I guess Colleen has got a new website, which we're waiting on the name of that new website. So the website that I said before, gone. It's no more. I'm wrong. I was wrong. But Colleen's going to give us her new website, and then we'll put that in the link, or she'll put that in the link, and you can go check it out.
And don't forget to email your questions. Al, I don't know if you can.
I got you covered. Hang on.
buzzed@nobullcompany.com. We will get you into a future live show here on Tuesdays to answer your question live. We'll also put in a good word for you with John, Al, and Rob when they come back on the show shortly. So email your questions, and we'll see you next week, y'all. Hey. Oh, hey.
Hey there.
Up, boys.
Hi, everyone. I didn't see you there.
I hate myself.
Raj is wearing the same shirts as us. Weird.
Well,
So what do we got going on tonight?
it was the highest form of flattery.
It is, right? It is. I agree. Okay, getting into tonight's discussion, stop caring about what others think. As you know, on this show, we talk a lot about mindset stuff because that is the foundation to all sort of success, both personally and professionally. So I want to say, anyone that's watching, please comment below on YouTube, on Facebook. Commenting is the reason why we're having these live shows in the first place, so we can interact with you out there, answer your questions, chit chat, and laugh together. So feel free as we're talking here to comment. We love it. But I'll kick us off here with the discussion with a comment that nobody is more critical of you than you. Do you guys agree with that? Do you guys agree with that statement? Nobody's more critical of you than you.
I agree.
Right?
I concur, Doctor.
Yeah. Well, thank you. And it must be the collared shirt today. It was a rare occurrence. But it's. I believe this is true for everybody. Whether you're super confident or you're very self-conscious, and no matter at what scale, nobody's more critical of you than you, right? Even if it's stemming from somebody else that was critical of you, well, that's now turned into your own criticism of you. I haven't ever read the book, but I've heard a lot about it. Is Andre Agassi's book? Have you guys heard of that? His like biography, basically.
No.
A decade ago it came out, and it was like rave reviews. Comment below if you know the book I'm talking about, or
Somebody Google it.
I'm sure we can Google it or on the internet.
Well, we're busy.
True. Somebody else can do that.
We're on TV.
Yeah, superstars. But the book, I got the cliff notes of it, and it was how he hated his father. But his father's the reason why he was a world champion tennis player at the same time, right? From like pushing him. So it like
Michael Jackson of tennis.
yeah. Nobody had any idea, like just all sorts of crazy stuff came from that. Apparently, somebody read the book or comment if you read the book. But to the point, like everything, he was self-conscious about being bald, so he wore a wig. That mullet, crazy mullet, that was not real hair. That was a wig.
What?
Really?
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna Google it.
Google it. I'm
John,
serious.
Are you serious?
Don't call me Shirley.
Jack.
Don't call me Shirley.
Yeah. So I don't know. Yeah, he talks about all that stuff in the book. So again, I haven't read it, so don't, if somebody else comment and dive in here. But the point is that you're your own worst critic. And so we often let that eat away inside of us, manifest into other things, manifest into our thought that, we're not good enough, or our thought that somebody else is criticizing us, even when they're not. We just sort of, build this stuff into our personality, and it leads to a deep, dark spiral of judgment and depression, at different levels. And it's hard to get out of. So I have, before I keep talking about some crazy research that I did on this topic, do you guys want to share any of your own sort of thoughts on the topic? High level ideas or thoughts?
Wow. For me, it's like when I was younger, I think forget me. Like, I think so many people, all people, when you're younger, what everybody else thinks matters. Like when you're a kid, you want to like make friends, and from when you're like a kindergartner, you know what I mean? I remember being in kindergarten and like my mom picking out clothes for me, and I was like, no, I don't want those clothes. Like, I don't want to wear a picture of you and Dad on my shirt, like, because I was worried about like what other people would think of me. And so I think that's part of all human development, is that like we're trying to like find people to like us, to love us, to et cetera. And we try to do all these different things to adapt. But as you get older, you realize like how not important that is at all. And how you actually sort of want the opposite. You actually really want like, hey, this is me, and I really don't care if you don't like me or that I wear a shirt that has my mom and dad on it. You know what I mean?
Because Al wore that to the office today, by the way.
And there you have it. So I think that this is something that all humans share, and it's something that you definitely can learn and train yourself to adjust to. And it's a unifying concept for all humans, and like we want other people's approval, but at the same time, we have to grow out of wanting that. That's it.
Is that possible? Do you guys feel like
to grow out of it?
Yeah, to grow out of like what other people care, what other people think of you, caring what other people think of you.
I mean, I think it's possible, but I think it takes a tremendous amount of work. Like, I think you got to really put the work in, like anything else that you want to do. I think to train the mind to train the mind, the heart, the soul, to be confident enough in yourself that you don't care what anybody else thinks, including your family, your closest people. If you want to make a decision and say, hey, I'm moving to Florida to start a horse farm because that's what I love. It takes a lot of courage and a lot of internal work to get to that place.
Yeah, Rob, what do you think?
Yeah, so I was going to say, so there's a lot of truth in that. I'm going to back up to prior to what Al's last statement was. So my comment was going to be that depending on the people that you are spending your time with and surrounding yourself with, that you need to do that with the right group of people. There can come a time, as Al said, where it may include, your closest and dearest friends. Let's hope that it doesn't get to that, but surrounding yourself with the right type of people. We all see what's happening today with social media and with the younger generations. But I want to let you know that it's not just stopping there. So like this weekend, I took 3 or 4 guys away to a leadership retreat in the Adirondacks, and part of the conversations that came up was, how do we, as grown men, how do we feel about these things today? And there are still grown adults that, depending on their occupation or where they live or the house they live in, the car they drive, they're still carrying around, right, these thoughts of, I'm not good enough, I don't have what it takes, being their own worst enemy and their biggest critic, right?
Yeah.
And so I do think it's possible to move, past that, but it takes a major mind shift and putting yourself, in the right circle of people and spending time with them.
Mm-hmm. And cutting out the otother people. That's even harder.
Right.
Is cutting out the people that drag you down.
Yeah. So I am doing research for this topic a little bit and kind of going internal to myself, as well as, looking up on a little website like called Google for some other sort of more expert opinions, right? Trying to bring some sort of value that's not just my opinion. But when thinking through this whole process, I don't know, I do this weird thing where I try to back up when I'm looking at something and look at all sides objectively. And then the weird thing that I do is I picture, this is probably going to sound so weird because I've never actually said it out loud to anybody except my wife, maybe. Like, I picture some sort of like physical analogy of the instance, right? So I look at people who grew up differently, had different sets of parents, different upbringings, different environments. And like, there's the saying, like, you need to have thick skin, right? Mm-hmm. To be able to deal with things coming at you, right?
Toughen up.
Yeah. And so for whatever reason, when I'm researching this, and I'll share some of the studies and research that I found shortly, but people that grew up with more of a encouraging childhood in an encouraging environment, not like silver spoon in their mouth, but just like encouraging, right? Like uplifting, encouraging, they'll let you explore.
Yeah.
Like, based on the studies and just based on my own observations just in life, it seems like they have a really thick like wall between them and all the shit being thrown at them in life, right?
Yeah. People
that were generally told what to do growing up, very critical upbringings, drill sergeant type, being raised that way, a very critical environment growing up. Mm-hmm. Seem to have a very thin wall of all the shit being thrown at them, right? And then on the other side of that wall is thoughts of self-consciousness and being criticized and taking that to heart and really being stressed out about that. Mm-hmm. So for whatever reason, that's what like popped into my head. I was like, like there's a big thick wall put up between somebody like a Gary Vaynerchuk, who by his own admission, had a great childhood. His mother was very supporting. His father was like hard, but like raising him with like hard work. And like, here he is grown up and apparently, at least on the outside, doesn't give a shit what anybody else thinks, has all these examples of when people were like, you're a wine boy going to start a social media agency. You're an idiot. Like, you're an idiot. Good luck, and then here he is with a $200+ million ad agency.
Right.
And, then you have people like, I just know, like, I know people personally, and like, there's, examples of other people. And there's a study here talking about it, that didn't grow up with that kind of support and have a thinner wall. Like, things hurt more because they spent 20 years or 15 years or whatever
conforming to everyone else,
pummeled into the form that they're in. Exactly.
Yeah.
Right? So I have this one quick study, and then would love to hear your guys' thoughts. So Dr. Laura Markham, as well as a bunch of other research studies on this very same thing, discipline, strict authoritarian, I probably said that terribly. Authoritarian, yeah. Child raising actually produces kids with lower self-esteem, who in turn then behave worse than other kids, and then therefore are punished more.
So say that again, but in like common folk language.
So basically, a strict upbringing
Right.
produces kids.
Authoritative parents.
Yep. A lower self-esteem.
Right.
And they end up behaving worse than other kids, who then end up getting punished more as kids.
Right.
Right.
Furthering the cycle.
Well, think about it. If a parent is a strict, saying you need to do it like this, do it this way, do it this way, anything else is bad.
Right.
Do it this way. This is against the rules. They're
Right.
trying to fit them into a mold, right, of like behaving
Right.
the right way.
Right.
Well, they end up behaving the complete opposite and getting punished more
Right.
for that, for being raised that way. Like, these are actual research studies. This is not just like, oh, like this has actually been researched and documented over the past several decades.
And to clarify, though, we're not talking about like my kid goes and like punches another kid in the face. Like, we're talking about, you know,
Dictatorship.
yeah, like normal levels of freedom of like living as a child. Like, I want to play with my toys here, or, you know, little stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't play with your toys. Like, you need to.
Don't play with that in the kitchen.
Wrong. That makes you weak. Like that kind of.
Right.
You know.
Got it.
So that was one of the study, and then it creates behavior problems in children because it deprives kids of the opportunity to internalize self-discipline and responsibility. So this is where the kicker is, and the reason why I'm saying this is it leads up to our main topic here. But what it deprives, there is an awesome saying which I wish I knew, but Al, I think you know this saying.
Quiz me.
You don't give a horse water. You teach. You lead the horse to water.
You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink.
That's actually not the saying I'm thinking.
Don't look a gift horse in the mouth.
I think I'm thinking of the.
You get a whole nother horse and water saying?
He pulled out two. No, I this is the complete wrong saying. I think I'm thinking of the Jesus story where he taught the guy how to fish.
Oh, yeah, this is a great one. Teach a man. Nope. Give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. Yeah, give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. Teach a man to fish, he'll eat for a lifetime. Don't fact check, Bible check that, but it's close. Paraphrase.
Close.
Thank you, Al, for picking up my
horses, water.
So anyways, that ties in with this sentence that if basically the sentence more again is it creates behavior problems in children because it deprives kids of the opportunity to internalize self-discipline and responsibility. Basically, if the kid is raised in an authoritarian environment, a parent that's very strict, telling them exactly how to do things so that the parent thinks that they're going to grow up doing it correctly. The problem is when they grow up, they don't know how to do shit for themselves. They don't know how to take responsibility for themselves. They don't know how to internalize, oh, you know what, that I should have done it this way. Oh, that was my fault. Like, let me fix that and do it. You know, they don't have that in them.
No sense of trial and error. There's no sense of trial and error. It's just like that. Oh God, and that is so important to like let a kid figure out what works and what doesn't.
And one last piece of this. Sorry, one last piece.
Yeah.
The same study is that, and not only all of that, but it inherently, indirectly teaches the kid how to bully other people because they're getting bullied by their parents, right? They're getting bullied by this dictatorship, and like that whole cycle.
Not intentionally.
No. That's my point. I didn't explicitly say it, but that's my point. Is the intention is to raise your kids well and put that in place.
Yeah.
And you're not intentionally doing all of this, but the stricter you are, and Al, you said it. I'm not saying like don't let them go play or any of that kind of stuff. We're talking about strict upbringings where you need to do this a certain way or you're going to be a failure as an adult. Ends up doing all of these things. Mm-hmm. This is crazy. Like reading this research made me actually like, whoa.
Can you send that link out? Jackie from Infoke wants the link, so maybe just send that out, that article.
Yeah, so I'm going to pass the torch to Rob here because I interrupted him like 9 times, and then I'll get the link.
I think before I jump in and say anything, so Mama Kutri had a question, which I think we should read.
Here we go. This is going to open up a whole can of worms.
So she said, great question. How do we say we shouldn't care what others think without sending the wrong message to young people that there are things you must conform to?
When you say things you must conform to, what do you mean? Give me an example, because I don't think there's anything you need to conform to. I'm like waiting as if she's in the room. I was like, hello.
Can you read that one more time? I'm
Yep.
looking the link.
So she says, so how do we say that we shouldn't care what others think without sending the wrong message to young people that there are things you must conform to?
Well, I think let's before you answer that question, you have to discuss the things that you must conform to, because there are certain things that as humans we have to kind of adapt to and conform to, and sometimes you do the right thing, and it is important to adjust what others think of you and what others like. There's this balance. So I think, it's a mixed message. They do care. They need to care what others think.
There's rules that they have to be followed.
Yeah, I was just going to say, like, in my opinion, there's laws and like real rules that you need to abide by in order to have, a successful way forward. Like, there's the actual laws, like don't go and stab somebody in the neck, or things like that, right? So those types of things obviously are something you want to teach your kids about, but there's other opportunities. I'll just use my own childhood because that's the only thing that I personally can attest to. But like, I know kids that I grew up with whose parents like wouldn't let them go trick-or-treating for Halloween. Like, they didn't believe in Halloween. I get like maybe there's some religious stuff in there, but like they also wouldn't let them ride the bus because they thought the bus was dangerous. They like there's like certain life experiences that other parents sheltered kids from, and then other instances where like I wasn't sheltered. My parents described like situations, and they would be like, hey, like if you're gonna go sleep at Billy's house, like pay attention to these things. And then they would call Billy's mom and be like, hey, if any of this stuff happens, you got to make sure you call. And then they would call, every 2 hours. How's he doing? Like that stuff like that. But then there's other parents that like flat out didn't let their kids go and have sleepovers because they thought all this stuff was going to happen. But, I'm a parent now, so I totally can understand why parents would be freaked out to let their kids go and have their first sleepover. Like, I 100% understand. So I think it's just, I'm not going to tell anybody how to parent because I'm only fucking 10 and a half months in. But I was parented in a way where my parents educated me on the dangers, the joys, the different aspects of life. They did their best to bumper bowl me into positions of success. But then there was other opportunities where I was let to fail. Not terrible instances, but instances where they let me fail, and they were like, it was a teaching moment, right? And so I think that's why I turned out to be able to experience, take ownership of things and experience the failures and, move on and turn those into, learning experiences. So that was a really long-winded answer of saying that I think it's both sides of the card. There's rules, there's hard rules, and those you need to teach your kids that they need to care about what other people say. Mm-hmm. But then there's things which you do not. You need to teach your kids not to care what other people say, how you dress, how you look, how you act, as long as it's kind to other people. Right. The grades you get, the shows you watch, the sports you like. I could go on forever and ever and ever on that.
Right. And I think that we need to clarify that when your actions have an effect, like a true effect on other people, you need to be very conscious of what those are in your decisions, right? But when it doesn't, and it's just you, right? So how you dress, how you look, how you feel, what you do, your where you go, there needs to be a distinction that if it's not negatively affecting anyone, then you don't need to care what anybody else thinks. Like I'll use a very small example that I think my mom was talking about, in that, for example, like she grew up a certain way, and very Italian culture, very sort of generational ideologies and things like that, and cultural things, nationality things. So let's just take the example of like acknowledging certain things or funerals or whatever, right? Like my mom loves to go to funerals. That's the ultimate sign of everything, right? Is you go pay your respects. It could be like your mailman's third cousin's dog. Like you better go and show your respect. I don't believe in that, right? And we have this conversation in many times where I'm like, Mom, I don't care if I don't care. Like I'm not going, and I don't care if John the mailman doesn't think I'm a good person because I didn't go to his Aunt Susie's sister's niece's funeral. Those kind of things where like I think we're like, oh, wrong, Al. I guess I'm wrong. But in any case, like I think that personal decisions, you don't need to care about what anybody thinks of you. Once that decision becomes onto someone else, then you do need to care very much when it affects another human being. But if it doesn't affect someone else, I don't think you care about anything.
Say that again, that last piece.
I said, I don't think you need to care at all about anybody else's opinion when your action or your decisions only affect you. Once your actions and decisions affect another human, then you very much need to care about what's happening.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't know, like that's my personal sort of like motto is sort of that, which is as long as you're being a good person to other people,
right?
And as long as you're, the definition of being a good person, I guess, could be different for different people. But genuinely, as long as you're bringing value to other people and you're not being, critical of other people in a judgmental, negative way, right? So constructive criticism. As long as you're being a good person to other people, you shouldn't care about what other people think. Hardest place in the world to get to for probably every single human being on this earth. I don't think there's anybody who's complete, unless you're like a sociopath. Like,
there's no...
you're going to care a little bit about what people think at certain points during your life. We also have chemicals in our brain where like certain days we're a little bit more depressed, like because it's a rainy day, or we live in Syracuse, New York, and it's cloudy for 6 months straight. Like there's going to be times when your brain, lets these things creep into you and doubt creeps in, right? I think stemming back to childhood, like I think your childhood can prepare you for those moments better in certain instances, and it can leave you wide open to those thoughts and those things that creep in other instances.
Yeah. Yep. I hear you. Mm-hmm. So shifting gears a little bit, maybe a little bit less of a more of a lighter note, I guess I should say. So here's a book. Some of you may have read, especially some of you females that are tuning in tonight, by Jen Sincero. It's You Are a Badass. How to Stop Doubting Your Greatness and Start Living an Awesome Life.
You put the link in the thing too.
What's that?
Put that link there.
Yeah. Too. So I think, so some people say, well, Rob, why did you read that book? It sounds like it's a chick book. Well, maybe so. However, I think it's smart of us as men to understand a little bit better how women think, number one. Number two, if I am consulting with any female business owners, I think it's a good idea to have a little bit of knowledge on that. But one of the things that she said is that you are responsible for what you say and do. You are not responsible for whether or not people freak out about it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
You are responsible for what people say and do?
You're responsible for what you say and do.
Oh, I was going to say.
You're not responsible for whether or not people freak out about it, right?
Yeah.
It's at some point in time, you just got to decide, are you going to sit there and you're going to second guess every word that's going to come out of your mouth because somebody's going to find it offensive somewhere? Or, you just try to do the best you can in everyday life and every circumstance and every situation, right? You're not going to please everybody. You're not going to make everybody happy. But that's the mentality. The other thing I think that's important with what we're talking about tonight is that, and she mentions it too, is that you should constantly be in a state of gratitude and aware that, there's awesome things that already exist, and that most people are living an illusion based on someone else's belief.
Oh,
let me say that
100%.
again. Most people are living an illusion based on someone else's beliefs.
Yeah, we just talked about this morning about, I use social media as the example, how that's literally what's happening on 80% of social media.
Right.
We're living vicariously through hundreds of thousands of other people, on a regular basis. And again, this, in my opinion, it stems back to the same thing. How we handle that, right? Do you look at pictures of half naked girls and dudes with 46-inch biceps and like look at them and say, I should look like that?
Yes,
So,
I say that.
Yes, I know. By the way, Al, if you had a 46-inch bicep, that would literally be bigger than if you put it around my shoulders.
Yes, I do look at them and say, I want to be like that.
Yeah. But the rest of your body looks exactly the same. But so I think again, the way you were raised, the environment you were brought up in, and this stems beyond just childhood too, right? Teenage years, high school, college, into adulthood. If you're constantly in this, let's just call it a toxic place, whatever that toxic for you, if you're in this toxic channel, you might never get out of it. You might raise your kids like that. You might keep going until, the grave if you never get out of that toxic channel. And social media, looking at pictures, looking at videos, looking at the way other people are doing things and thinking that that's the way you're supposed to do it. And so we'll use the entrepreneurship thing. If you're in a family of people who have gone to college, became doctors, gone to college, became doctors, gone to college, became lawyers, then all of a sudden you decide you want to start a freaking shoelace business, you're going to get some criticism, most likely. Unless you have, again, that really great support system.
Shoelace business.
It's a little idea I had. I haven't told you guys yet, but yeah.
Wait,
they're very sparkly.
John's got an idea, Al.
Oh, God.
When are you guys going to give me a shirt or a hat?
Yeah, tattoo, forehead tattoo. I had an idea.
I've got an idea.
Usually while he's on the crapper.
Yeah. No, man. When I run.
You know what? I will say though, it's never too late. And like, obviously, my mom's watching. She can attest to this. Like, her parents, literally, like, they were great. Right? My grandparents were great, but they had that mentality of like not control in a toxic way, but in a like fearful way, like protect, right? And my mom always conformed to that because she felt that was her job as a daughter, is to like sort of make your parents happy, right? Even into like her, I won't reveal her age, but into the later years in her life, she was very much like under the guise of her parents and like what she should do. And now, obviously, like so many people have passed away, et cetera. And now, like I tell my mom, like, Mom, do whatever the hell you want to do. Like whatever you want to do, I support that. If you want to, I don't even know what an appropriate thing to say is, but like
get a tattoo.
Yeah, if you want to get like a butterfly tattoo on your area, go do whatever you want. Like explore yourself so you can feel the joy of being completely free from anyone. And she'll tell you, like, I constantly push her, like, go do anything you could possibly dream of, because you arguably have like 20 to 30 really solid years left of like awesomeness, and you should take advantage of that. It's never too late to start to like implement your truest self and not care about what anybody else thinks.
Love it. And that's getting out of that, like that channel, right? I mean,
getting out of the channel.
People very close to me that were stuck in a channel of, I'll just use the bowling analogy, right? Like a very narrow bowling alley.
Yeah.
It's a very small screen, so I don't have much.
Yeah, I know.
Canadian
bowling.
Actually. So you got this bowling alley, right? And like there's bumpers on the side of it.
Mm-hmm.
Keeps you bing, 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 right? So you have people who very close to me who grew up in a very narrow bumper bowling lane. And follow me. Should I use a different analogy?
No, we're good.
We're committed to it now.
I want to see you bowl again.
And so they're here in this lane, and it's very narrow, and they couldn't get outside there. They couldn't experience other sides, other things outside of that lane. And in their adulthood, got the lane like way opened up, saw all these other opportunities to hit a strike, and they're like, Jesus, like this all existed? Like,
amazing.
I had no idea, and here they are now throwing strikes all the time.
Turkey.
Turkeys, man. Going like a 220. That's high, right? 220.
Yeah, 220.
And it's amazing to see that, and just like moments like that, I really take to heart, especially with people close to me, where that just makes me now want to. My wife has this. We talked about this too, Rob. Like I always want to fix stuff. When I talk with Lindsay, and I want to fix stuff in your life, in your life.
I always want to hire people to fix stuff.
Hire people.
I always want to hire people to fix stuff.
And like I see this, and I'm just like, I just want everybody on the face of this earth to like experience what you just said, Al. The joy of being like, I can do whatever the fuck I want,
unapologetically me,
as long as I'm a good person and I'm following laws and all of the normal stuff. Don't take me for literal, everyone on here, but like I can do whatever. If I want to get a tattoo on my areola, I can get a tattoo on my areola.
Wow, maybe he is a doctor.
You said earlier? You said a tattoo on my area.
I said areas.
Oh.
Very sensitive place to get a tattoo, John. And Mom, don't even think about it.
I thought you said she could do whatever she wanted, Al.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I feel you.
Yeah. By the way, I almost peed my pants when I got the tattoo, like right here. Yeah, literally peed my pants, like almost lost bodily control.
Because it hurts.
So areola, I have no idea.
Don't do that.
But if you want to do that,
do it. And on top of what you said, do whatever you want to do, right? And I think the other really important thing is never attempt to stop someone else from doing what they want to do. Like, ever. That is one of the worst things that you can do to another human, is to like prevent them and try to stop them for your own selfish reason to like not do what they want to do that makes them happy and feel good in this life. Never do that. Who do we got here? What do we got? Yasmin?
Yeah.
Good question. Go ahead and read that.
I'm going to read it. Hi, guys. I study for an area chosen by my parents, and I feel I have an obligation to follow this as a way to reward everything they did do for me, despite her desire to follow another area. Any tips? This comes from Yasmin.
Find a different way to reward them.
Bingo. Yeah. So this is really interesting.
Well, now I know what does she want to do. I want to know, Yasmin, what do you actually want to do?
Yeah, what would make you happy? Like, what's your dream?
This I have no idea, but I don't know if she comes from like a recent immigrant family. This is like a Gary Vaynerchuk thing.
This is a question, yeah.
Where he talks about this. He talks about the fact that he grew his dad's wine business with like no part ownership and then left it with no money as a way to pay his dad back, a way to pay his parents back. I
mean, I totally get that sense of wanting to pay your parents back. You know what I mean? Like, I get that. And that's a cultural thing. Like, there's so many people that want to do that. I want to do that. I always wanted to like buy my dad whatever kind of car he wanted, send pay my mom's house off. But I also want to do it on my terms. Yeah,
I don't actually feel comfortable giving advice in that particular standpoint, Yasmin. Like, I don't know family dynamics like that, and I can't speak to other ways. Al, I like your statement about find a way to pay them back in another way.
A different way to do what get to the goal, right? Like love your parents, get to the goal, but do it so that you don't suffer.
Yeah.
Or that you don't live with regret. I mean, maybe it's, maybe you're following an area, your day job or whatever is doing what your parents had always thought you'd be awesome at, but your side hustle becomes something that you love to do. And so that you're kind of doing both, again, depending on, there's a lot of open-ended questions here that we're not sure of.
Yasmin, here's my advice to you. Put it into perspective. Your parents want the best for you. You want to pay them back by going into the field that they want you to go into. Your parents do not want you to be unhappy for your entire life. That is not their intention of you. So if you're going to go into being a lawyer and you're going to be unhappy for your entire life, that is not something that is going to pay your parents back. Paying your parents back does not mean being unhappy in a career that you can't stand for your entire life. That's not paying them back. So if you can find a way to communicate that to them, then that would be the only advice that I could give you, is to go to them and say, listen, Mom and Dad, I love you guys. You raised me great. I am so grateful for everything you did. But if I go be a lawyer, I know you want me to be a lawyer. If I go be a lawyer, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be really, really unhappy. Like really unhappy. I'm not going to like it. I'm not going to have fun. I'm not going to like the career that I went into. I really don't feel comfortable. Here's what I would love to do. Here's how I'm going to make it successful. And then go from there. If it's still bad, and then you got to make the choice of which is more important.
This is tough. I'm a little more, John's being very sensitive with this, and that's good.
It sounds like she's already a lawyer, so she's currently practicing law.
She is a lawyer.
Wants to go and own a beauty salon.
Wants to own a beauty salon. What's the guy we talk about? Who's that guy that lived in his car?
What's that? Oh, John Paul Mitchell. Not Paul Mitchell.
No, what's his name?
DeJoria. John Paul DeJoria.
Whatever. Like
Paul Mitchell.
Paul Mitchell salon.
Patron. I'm actually not drinking Patron, but
but it's a salon, right?
No, dude, it's like the biggest hair care company in
Paul Mitchell
hair care.
Yeah.
Tell your parents that story. Like, look that guy up. Me, I'm very bullish on it. Like,
Doria.
Yeah, I'm very bullish on it. Unfortunately, your parents. I'm looking at your comment as if you're real. Like I'm like talking to you. Look, your parents are gonna die. Like they're gonna die someday, and then you're gonna be left with the sorrow of losing them and the sorrow of wasting your entire life being unhappy. You can have your beauty salon. It can be massive. You'll make 100 billion times more than you will as a lawyer. That's my opinion. So like, it's not fact. It's just my opinion. But you got to have a heart-to-heart with your parents and say, do you want me to be happy, or do you want me to just do what I think will make you happy? Because I'm not currently happy. You tell that to your parent, I'm pretty sure they're going to say like, geez, Yasmin, like, I want you to be happy.
Here's another option, right? So you have a couple of different ways you could go. Let's say, because you said you're studying for an area. So I don't know if you're actually a lawyer now or you're studying to become one. But regardless, you could keep going and being a lawyer, and maybe you'll love it someday because you go into civil rights or something like that you're passionate about. You can, or maybe it's business law, and you start having salons across America or across the world as your clients. Anyways, you could keep going and becoming a lawyer. You could keep going, become a lawyer, make some money, invest in a small salon, launch a small salon, and do that on nights and weekends. Hire another person. Maybe you just open the salon, you hire another person to come in and actually be the hairdresser, and then eventually you can make enough money to transition a career. Like that's one way to potentially go, and not a terrible way either. I can tell you, if I were to go back and do my career again, which was personal trainer, strength and conditioning coach, fitness, and then switched into marketing when I did marketing for a gym, and then very quickly launched my own agency, which pretty much struggled for 6 to 7 years before we really took off. If I were to go do my career again, you know what I would have done? I would have gone and ate shit at a marketing agency for like 5 years, maybe a decade, worked my way up in a job that I know I wouldn't have been super, super passionate about. But then when I finished that 10 years, I would have been able to launch an agency with contacts, with a bunch of professional experience, and launched to a much more successful tune than I did by trying to go it alone myself. So as a lawyer, you could continue to be a lawyer, build up your future clientele for your salon. You could go into business law, learn business law. Maybe you already are. Yasmin, what area are you going into for law? And then you could go and launch your salon. Or the third one, you could quit everything right now, go launch a salon. Maybe you're a good business person. Maybe you're not. You fail. You go out of business. You go bankrupt. That's a much bigger risk that I probably wouldn't suggest you take, but maybe you're ready to
practicing law.
Maybe you're ready to go. Maybe you got 100 people ready to hire you to cut their hair.
I agree with everything that's said. Don't put everything on the line. Don't go to risk, but like try to get there. Like don't blow your whole life. Find a strategic path. Clearly you're super smart. Like find the strategic path to get to the salon sooner than later. Everybody's gonna win. Everyone's gonna win.
I like you talk.
No, you talk.
We keep talking at the same time and nobody.
What are you guys talking about?
I don't know. That's the benefit of going live here. Nobody can understand what we're saying.
You go. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say I'm a big fan of number 2, on not knowing Yasmin or her circumstances of you're already halfway a lawyer or all the way a lawyer, and go be an amazing lawyer for as long as you need to be until you can start to realize your dream, like Al said, until you can go and open a salon. I know several lawyers. I know more than a handful of lawyers that also own businesses. So you're not in the worst career in the world to keep going until you can start to realize your dream.
Well, how many lawyers do we know that come out of law school that are broke, working crazy hours, and making no money? Like it takes a long time to get to a point of where you've got to pay back the law school loans. You've got to, and then this industry sometimes feeds into exactly what we opened up the show with there's this thing that if we're lawyers, we're supposed to look like, act like, drive a certain car, live in a certain home. Like you get pigeonholed into this whole thing because you're a lawyer.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I said. I don't know Yasmin's personal circumstances, independent from her circumstances. We can always.
So, hopefully that was some help, Yasmin.
Yeah.
Just trying to think of as we're talking, I'm trying to think of a name for her salon where she can actually practice law out of the salon. And it's a mix of legal advice and
she can hair advice while cutting hair. I like it.
Keeps her it's all in one. It's a one-stop shop.
Wow.
Legal locks, legal
locks is good.
Legal locks, the court Supreme Court style. I don't know what's happening.
The first one.
Give it a shot.
Don't listen to me, Yasmin. I'm
gonna lead off Homer with legal locks. Let's just go with that one.
This is so much. Thanks so much for the answers. I will try this approach little by little.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, Yasmin, for the conversation. We thoroughly enjoyed it. Remember, everybody watching, subscribe on our YouTube channel because we will be giving away free stuff every Tuesday live here on the show. You got to watch the whole show and tune in to the end to win it. So now is the time when we announce our giveaway winner, who is winning the Jackson Jovi jeans. I'll spare all you by getting on the chair again and showing you my jeans, but they're nice jeans. We should have played like a little video of the jeans here.
I know. I was looking for something, but I don't have it.
Oh well, go over to our I'm a little buzzed on Instagram. and check out our latest reels that we put up. You'll see all about the jeans. But today's giveaway winner, Gary Miller. Boom.
Hey, Gary.
Gary Miller. Wonder if he's on.
Gary subscribed to our YouTube channel August 16th, I think was the number, 2020. So he's been a subscriber for a few months here. Thanks, Gary Miller. Hopefully you find some useful advice somewhere in this podcast of ridiculousness. Tidbits here and there. We like to sneak them in between the humor, right, fellas?
That's right.
So Gary, if you're watching this, all you have to do is email buzzed@nobullcompany.com. We'll get your sizing info. We'll send you a pair of awesome jeans.
Cool.
Rob, what's your one takeaway from the show?
Don't let anybody pigeonhole you into something that you're not going to be happy with.
John?
Rob, I'm trying to say Rob's in a different way. I ditto what Rob said, right? Like the bumper bowling analogy. Don't let anybody bumper bowl you into a place you don't want to be. I would say the bigger one is get the frick out of toxic environments at all costs. Whatever is keeping you there, like I can think of some that I have now, which I'm only distanced from because of COVID.
Right.
Right. I mean, whatever you have to do to get out of your toxic environment, could be parents, could be friends, could be your job, it could be group that you're part of. I don't even know. Like, it could be any organization where you go to regularly, where you are walking into that place going, oh man, I really don't want to be here. I really don't want to deal with this shit. I really don't want to, talk about these things. I really don't want to be judged. Find a way to get out of those areas.
Mm-hmm.
What's yours, Al?
Don't tattoo your areola.
Or do it.
If you want to, I'm not going to stop you.
Or do it.
Or do it. That's that.
Thanks, Nick. Nick says, congrats, Gary. You're going to love these jeans. Bam! Damn right you are, Gary.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. As always, we are so thankful for you tuning in. We're still very early on in this whole process. We launched this podcast basically at the beginning of COVID, as a way to stay in touch with everyone out there. So thank you so much. And thank you for coming back to us in this live environment and engaging with us. And tell all your friends. Share our stuff. That's the only way we're going to grow and make a bunch of people laugh while hopefully teaching a small percentage of them. By the way, I would just, before we leave, like to give a shout out to Al Chest Hair Kutri. I just saw his name listed below just now. Just have to say it's the most wonderful chest hair that I've ever seen. So,
wow, thank you, John. It means a lot to me.
You're welcome. All right, everyone, cheers. We love you all. To life and business. May everyone out there prosper in both. Yeah.